Hello, good evening, and welcome to the April edition of the Transruptic show. I am your host, Stephen Jackson, the lead transruptor and the mad scientist of this program. I'm coming to you live from the state capital of New York, Albany, New York. I'm here for the Black and Puerto Rican caucus, and unfortunately, the politicians have not passed a state budget, so they're going to be in session all night tonight until they pass a budget. So they can't come out and play at any of the events that's going on this evening. Hopefully they'll be able to come out and play for the rest of the weekend with us. So along with me is my beautiful, talented, smart, super cool, and we're both 1 year older guest. Natalie, tell them.
Hello, everybody. Natalie Price here. I am your career and business model coach, TEDx speaker, and a catalytic innovator and entrepreneur. And I'm glad to be here with you all this evening.
Yeah, so I'm also coming on, I'm also on my cell phone this evening because in my rush at the last minute, I left my laptop at home. But that just shows you how great technology is. You got a smartphone, you can always appear smart. So I'm here on my phone. And it doesn't matter because I'm not hosting this entire program. We got an amazing program for you this evening. This is officially Autism Awareness Month. And we have a couple of guests that's going to really talk about how great it is to be an entrepreneur and still be in that space. But Natalie and I, we've been having some conversations, and we had a great show last week with Andrew. And he, you know, that show really sparked some things. And we're going to still talk about a few things about that. So, Natalie.
Yes.
What's up with us, our people? I'm only going to talk about our people who believe, and not all of us. So whenever I talk about our people, I'm not talking about everybody. I never ever want to say that all Black people do one thing, all Black folks. You know, I don't speak for all Black people, first of all. But I've come across a number of of our people who, even those who've been in our entrepreneur workshops, who believe that it's wrong for them to be wealthy. What's up with that?
Listen, I think they're getting wealth confused with rich, right? So wealth to me is like it covers all aspects of our life. It's just not only financial, but financial is an important part of it. Being rich just might be money, cash rich for the moment, but nothing else around it. I think that we have to approach wealth as like a wholesome approach so that it's a healthy thing, if that makes sense, right? Because we know plenty of people with a lot of money, but they're destructive, right? They're not. It's not like the money does any good for what for them or what they do, right? So I think it's more important that we're more aware of a healthy relationship with money to be able to be wealthy.
Oh, so that would explain Biggie when he was talking about, you get more money, you get more problems because he was related to rich. Right, Kurt?
It's real, yo. I ain't exaggerating at all, man. The more money you make, the more problems you get. And jealousy and envy is something that comes with the territory, man. A lot of people, it's just negative energy, like my man Puff said.
So when you're getting rich, this whole thing of Mace did a song with Puffy talking about more money, more problems. We just heard Biggie say the same thing. People have this thing that if I make more money, there's gonna be more haters on my tail. More people gonna be against me. So they would rather remain poor or hide it.
Hmm. Right, but wealthy is different, right? Wealthy is a
Okay.
balance of that, right? So I aspire for wealth because it's in wealth is health. I don't want to forget that, right? Because
Hmm.
you can't, if you don't have your health, you can't enjoy the whether you're rich or not, you can't enjoy it, right? So I think there's a balance in that, but I also think that we've been had like this meek and mild perspective of wealth. And I've had to read books to change my mind about that, to give me a different insight on money. And the funny thing is, I've realized lately that I've actually been a little too frugal, right? I want to keep my expenses low so that I can maintain it, right? But what I realized is if I expand my expenses in a smart way, right? Like make right investments. Like during the pandemic, my husband and I saw opportunity for us to be able to get cars, right? We both needed decent vehicles so that we could do our business. Yes,
Hmm.
it's an increase in our monthly expenses, but it's also paying itself off, right? So it's being smart in how we decide to increase our living expenses, right? But not being too frugal that it keeps us at this level that we don't feel like we have to do more.
That's a good point because one of the things that happens when people experience hard times, one of the things they want to do is cut back. They want
Mm-hmm.
to decrease spending. They want to stop treating themselves good. And that's pretty kind of like the opposite of
What?
what you really should be doing. Like businesses, they would teach you that the one thing, businesses have a number of businesses have a problem sometimes with hard times and they cut their marketing budget. That's one of the first things they cut, which is like the wrong thing to cut because you need to be out there marketing more because your competitors will be marketing more. And so I look at it the same way. I don't look at stuff as an expenses. I look at stuff as an investment. So if I invest in something that's giving me a higher quality, then I feel I can go out and make more money with it. I mean, that's the reason why I just moved into a new location because I am paying, probably a third more than what I was paying where I was at. But this location gives me more visibility
Mm-hmm.
and allows me to entertain better to gather more money, to make more money. So I like to look at things as an investment, not so much to say, because when we say it's an expense, you're ready to cut it. When things don't look so good, you're ready to cut it. But when I look at it as an investment, I'm looking to level up so that I can go out and make more money to
Mm-hmm.
pay for that.
Exactly. And I think as entrepreneurs, the way that backfires on us, and whenever I say us, that means I've experienced it, is that we fail to invest in ourselves, right? So I think for a long time, I
Mm.
took too long to invest in myself, right? I would be like, $1,500? Never. That's just too much. I kept calculating that in rent, light
Hmm.
payment, right? And I wouldn't even entertain the opportunity, right? But recently, I've been more freely been like, yep, I'm going to drop those dollars and I make it back faster, right? Because it's really an investment. So I no longer say to myself, oh, I'm not going to make that investment. I'm not going to do that $5,000 training, because in my head, I understand how much I can make back on that investment over and over and over again. One time, $5,000, I can make that come back to me by billing out my clients appropriately for the certification and the service that I'm providing.
That is so true. And you touched on a very important point. When something is not tangible, it's difficult for people to see the value into investing in it. And that's been one of the issues that the leadership community has always had, is because they're selling something that is not tangible. It is something that is, you learn, you grow from it. They have a hard sell with that because there are a group of people who do not see the benefit from it because it's not something they can put their hands on, or it's not something that they can hold. So they don't see the value in it. They don't see the value in investing in themselves. And that is so key when you invest in yourself, when you're taking coaching, when you're doing coaching and leadership training, these things pay off immediately. So I've always learned, I was taught very well to learn that it's important for me to always level up and hire people to help me level up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that to do everything myself. I'm not into this situation where, oh, let me go see what I can learn from this person and try to emulate them. No, go hire a coach and let them teach the proper ways of doing it. That's what I've always done. I've had a number of coaches over the years and still got coaches. Even when I'm coaching people, I'm going to always have a coach, to help me along to get to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think people realize that. I don't think that we realize that in order to get to those levels and to level up and to get to that, to scale, you have to be able to have the coaching, right? I like how Andrew put it last week. It's called your board of directors, right? Who is your board of directors? Who's the people that you can call and they can give you the coaching and move you along? And I'm going to tell you, those are not usually like your friends. Right? They're not usually your friends.
You don't trust your friends to know enough to help you out.
They're not. It's a different realm when you're talking about your board of directors in a way, right? You may have 2 or 3 friends, but everybody serves a different purpose, right? For me in business, I have business colleagues that are friends that I go to that for that advice, but I'm not going to certain people who don't have that experience for that advice.
Understandable. So what we want you to start to take away from this is, we want you to think about investing in yourself because it always pays dividends. Stop looking at living a better lifestyle as an expense and look at it as an investment to help you level up. Sometimes it makes sense to take something you may think that's out of your reach, because now you're going to work harder to make sure that you can attain and achieve that. And and you're working on a plan, that becomes even better accomplishment. So we want to get away from this whole thing that more money is more problems, because that's what you focus on, that's what you're going to get. Me, I see more money as more opportunities to do more things, to help more people, to create a stronger economy. That's how I see raising more money. It's not about problems. It's about me focusing on the opportunities that come with that. That's one of the reasons why I'm up here in Albany, meeting with senators and assembly people, for the simple fact that I can now support them. That those who I want to see back in office or get into office, I can support their campaigns. I can provide more services in the community to get them known about, and they could assist us with bringing the creating the laws that we need to make it more profitable for us to be entrepreneurs. So, but once again, it's an investment. It's not an expense.
I think it's more money, more responsibilities. It's just the truth, right? You make more money, maybe you buy a bigger home and you have a bigger light bill, and that's just more responsibility, right? It's just more responsibility. Maybe you have to more. I just think it's more responsibility when you make more, when there's more money to deal with, right? Just talking about Andrew last week when he said he got his first $100,000 check, you got to be responsible and say, what's the next step at a higher level? And then all of those feelings of money start to play, right? And you have to fight it to get to the next level of attracting that money. It's kind of like a test.
Right. So understand when you talked about that first one, it made me think about that first big check that I got and the responsibility that comes with it. So remember, money is a tool and it requires you have a sense of responsibility. So, it's kind of like, it's interesting because when we talk about the loan program that we have going through Transruptic, one of the things I did, I asked my VP of finance to put in some sort of controls so that we know if someone is taking a loan to pay for equipment, that it goes to paying for the equipment. We have seen people who get their first big check and do everything wrong with it. I remember there's a story out there about Shaq when he got his first big NBA check, and he just went hog wild and just purchased a whole bunch of stuff. It was actually someone who cared about him, sat him down, and really told him what he should be doing with his money. I think Shaq now has about a good, at least minimum 250 franchises at minimum. Now we're talking about someone who has serious wealth and generational wealth they will be able to pass down to his family, children and others, in his circle. But if he had went on that same roller coaster that he went on when he got that first check and no one actually talked to him about utilizing how to use money as a tool, investing and leveling up, he would probably have been broke. He probably been another sad story of a pro athlete that is now penniless. Once the big checks are gone, there are pro athletes who live check to check. Imagine that you're getting like $150,000 every 2 weeks, and you live in check to check.
I can when your rent is $15,000 a month, right? And so there is. So Curtis, you want to bring that video up real quick? I think we should. I want to talk about. Let's just watch it real quick, and then we'll have a quick discussion about it.
I'm not mad that the founder of the Black Lives Matter movement purchased a $6 million home. Why should I be upset? We said that Black women deserve luxury. All of a sudden they don't. But you all don't want the ones that organize for social injustice for Black people to get the luxury, just the Instagram models. I just want to remind you that Dr. King was killed. He was no millionaire. Rosa Parks was getting her rent paid by an older white man for the last 20 years until she died. And the brilliant and beautiful Malcolm X didn't even own a home prior to his death. Majority of the civil rights ancestors struggled financially. We should get in the habit of understanding that the civil rights movement did not come with a pension plan. Black liberation does not mean Black poverty. Times have changed. If an Instagram model can become a millionaire for pictures, then people who are on the front lines of organizing can be millionaires also. Also, let's keep in mind the hashtag of Black Lives Matter has been entered on IG alone 27 million times. So let's not have negative energy towards the organization because no one of these women did not kill a Black person. These women coined a term surrounding social injustice to the point marketing agencies and Fortune 500 companies use the word matter countless of times in ads since Black Lives Matter was created. These women deserve a big home like any other person in this country who has been responsible for creating something. And remember, Black lives matter before they're dead. Black lives matter when we are alive, and Black people deserve to live well. I'm Madam President with a Z, and Black lives matter.
I thought that was well said.
Yes, it was. It was interesting. I remember during the Montgomery boycott, one of Dr. King's advisors went to him and said, let's purchase the bus line. Not boycott it. He said, let's purchase it. He saw that there was enough Black dollar powers back then to say, let's take control of our economics. And Dr. King didn't want to go that route. But in the later years, he started understanding about Black economic power. Mm-hmm. And I wholeheartedly agree. She's 100% correct. So what? They bought a $6 million. I mean, the American dream is home ownership. That's the American dream. It doesn't really say as long as you are doing something legally and you can afford a home, who's to say?
And I think that we have to start, I see it in my community, right? We have a lot of people that are on the front lines, that are champion causes and everything, but they can't get, rub two nickels together. And it shouldn't be like that, right? Why shouldn't, when I look at the nonprofit structure in certain communities, those are people that should be our people in those roles making six figures, helping the marginalized communities, right? But often we don't see that, or they're not in those positions. So I think there's just so many opportunities that we could be leveraging as Black and brown people in our communities, especially, if we're on the front lines. Nothing wrong with money at all. No. Oh, Stephen got dropped off.
Yeah, that's one of the problems with using a cell phone from time to time. Something hiccups. But Natalie, you're 100% correct. Once again, we have to stop thinking that we need to be poor. You cannot give away that which you don't have. So you have people who want to help the community, but they don't help themselves. And if you're not helping yourself, how can you be out there helping someone else? You need some sort of finances and able to be able to do those things. And the more that you can earn, the more people you can help. And that's where I go there. It was interesting when I became CEO of Webull. One of my good friends, I was having dinner with him. I was hanging out with him for the weekend, and he said, "I never saw you running this organization. He said, I don't see you doing it." He said, "I see you go ahead and do what you normally do, make a few more $1 million, and give them like 80 grand, and tell go do what you need to do." He did not see me taking a position to work with an organization. He saw me being what I normally been, a successful entrepreneur, build a whole other company, and then give them some of the proceeds. And I understood what he was saying. Sometimes, if like you say, you can't help if you're not in a position to help. You can't help if you're not if you're not able to take care of yourself. It's very difficult to take care of other people. It's very difficult for these people to be on the front line out there getting maced and tear gassed and everything else from time to time because what they believe in. And then, they got a rent eviction on their door.
Yes.
And that goes for regardless of what you're doing and where you are in the community, because I've seen a number of entrepreneurs, especially our sisters who they're nurturers. So the number one thing is to help. And they will help and not take care of themselves. Even as an entrepreneur, they're not going to charge what they can make. They're not going to charge a full price because they want to help the community. They may have another audience that may not even be Black that they won't go and sell to because they want to keep it in the hood, keep it in the neighborhood. And, our goal is to constantly help them get beyond just their community. If you got a product that another community will purchase, then go sell to them, go market, create a market for that, and go market them and make them money. And then you can do more things within your community. You can support local parties. You can support other local nonprofits that are doing things. And that's what we're going to be doing at Transruptic. Our whole goal is to create holistic entrepreneurs who are successful enough where they can support the local nonprofits. Like I was told. That's my guy told that. He's like, "Steve, don't go work, don't save. Don't give them money." That's what he basically said. Just give them some money. And it wasn't Andrew. A guy you probably thought it was Andrew, but it wasn't Andrew. He told me that it was someone else. And I admit, So those are the kind of people I got in my circle. People who know me like, "Yo, no, Steve, come on, you're an entrepreneur. Go make a bunch of money like you normally do, and then give something to the nonprofit and keep it moving." And I'm like, okay. So I like that you brought that clip up. It is powerful.
It's important.
Yeah. So as we, it said a lot. She was on point. She said a lot.
Sure
and
did.
I think also, God, I don't want to open up this can of worms because I'm going to. But we know there is a place that Black people go to where they consistently see the head living a very luxurious life, and those who contribute do not. And they think that they're paying some sort of penance and all this other stuff. And I'm not going to get into it, but I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing wrong with paying yourself first, paying yourself 10%. out of your paycheck first. Pay yourself first. Don't sit there and
Yes.
pay bills first and give money to everybody else first. Somebody got to be a smart behind it. Put up here what I don't want to say. So I'm not gonna call them out by name because I have my own things about spirituality and things like that. And I don't want to get into that because we're talking about how to be honest making money. But the same way how you've been taught to support these organizations, support yourself.
Yep.
Pay yourself first. Get your 401k or whatever it is that you got. Put money away for yourself. But to get out of the habit of paying all bills first. Yes, it is important to pay bills. Bills are paying the behind. He doesn't leave your life once he enters it. But there's nothing that says he has to be paid first. If you're working hard for your money, you should be putting away some money for you first and then take care of Bill.
Yep.
Okay. Bill, you should not be sitting there worrying about the leftovers. You should not be working for the leftovers. You should be working to enjoy life.
And just one thing I want to end with in my closing comment is one thing that I like lattes from Starbucks, and people will always say, you need to cut back on how many lattes you have. No, that is my self-deserve. I deserve my daily latte. I don't care. You know what? Know what that means? I need to make more money. And I've already calculated how many more clients I need to take on for my latte addiction. So instead of thinking, to contract, I decided to expand. You're on mute.
Oh, yeah, host been mute. I don't even want to talk about the amount of money I spent this week. So I had my granddaughters with me last week, and then I went back to Savannah with them. Nobody bought lattes, right? And because I haven't spent a lot of time with these two granddaughters, we ended up in the outlet mall, and I ain't gonna say they, I contribute to it. We went kind of crazy. I mean, I got Transruptic themed Oakleys. Okay. I got a pair. My daughter got a pair. I'm quite certain when the host, when my special guest daughter see those, I don't know if she saw them yet. She's going to get a pair for her too. But we just had fun, and I didn't count the money. I did because like I said, it's money. It's a tool. It's made to be enjoyed. And that's exactly what I did. And I got to admit, man, one granddaughter, she got a Coach bag for me. So she got a Coach set. She got a bag, pocketbook, purse, everything, change thing. Got every store I went and got something from. She basically got something out of that store.
I love it.
With the Nike, I love going to Nike. I mean, I don't mind going to Nike store. I got a daughter who, I'm on the family plan. I get 40%. I get a discount through her. So I go to Nike store. I get some shirts. She gets a jacket. But we just have fun, and we have fun the entire week, just doing things. And it's not about how much money was spent, because I look at it once again. I go out there, I work a little hard, I close a few more deals, and I make more money. That's how I look at it always, is the ability to put myself in a position to make more money. Even if you're working at a job, once again, there's abilities for you to level up, learn new skills, level up, get so valuable at your job that, that you can tell them, hey, man, I know too much. I gotta go somewhere else to make more money. There is always opportunities for us to level up and get bigger. So we have come to the end of our portion of this program, and I'm really excited about what we're going to do next. So I want to introduce my daughter. She's the VP of Leadership Development for Transruptic, but more importantly, she is my daughter. Hey, Tia, how you doing?
Hi, everyone.
Whoa.
So Tia has been an advocate, a serious enemy combatant when it comes to her getting the services she needs for her son and my grandson Gray, and Gray is living a great life as far as I could tell. I mean, he has access to services and programs. He's just being his best self. I mean, he is exploring different things. He just like how we all got the opportunity to explore the things that we want to do in life, and and just be a kid. Just be a kid with with worlds of possibilities. And I love that Tia has been able to do that. But more importantly, by her taking on this responsibility, She has learned a lot about how the systems work, how to get things done. She's been a speaker for many others in the artistic community and helping them. She has a handbook out. You got a handbook out too, right?
It's coming out. It'll be out before the end of the summer.
Well, before the end of the summer, or just in time for back to school.
Yes, to assist to get services.
So it is my honor and my pleasure to welcome the host for the rest of this evening, my daughter, Tia Jackson. Tia, show is yours.
Yes, I'm taking over. So I would like to introduce my special guest on this show, two women, Kelly Braun Johnson and Tiffany Joseph. These ladies are both autistic and parents as well as entrepreneurs, and I'm so happy to have them with me tonight because I really want to talk about what it means to be autistic, neurodivergent, and entrepreneurs, which is something that I don't feel like is talked about a lot. So for those of you who may not know, autism is classified as a neural disability, and it characterized as people who have problems or issues interacting socially, and they also may have academic issues. They also may have relationship issues just with the way they communicate. So we all can go look at the DSM-5 and Google what autism spectrum disorder is. But today, I really would like my guests to share what it means for them to be autistic. So Kelly, in your own words, what does it mean to be autistic, or the newer term neurodivergent?
Well, first, I just want to say thank you to Stephen and Natalie and Tia for inviting me, for giving us this space and amplifying our voices, because we're often not heard. So I'm so happy to be here. So for me, I wouldn't say that neurodivergent is a new word in terms of it's not replacing autism. Autism is a condition that goes under this whole neurodiversity umbrella. So I use both terms. I also use disabled. I use disabled and disability. I'm perfectly fine with those labels. I don't have any stigma or issues attached to that. I have a lot of different identities and a lot of different titles that I use. So I don't want to go too much into like definitions, but just to say that all these different labels that we do have, if the person feels that they identify with that and they want to take pride in that there is a community of us out there who are proud to be openly autistic, to be disabled, or to be neurodivergent, and we're here and we're doing things, we're getting stuff done.
Thank you. Tiffany, what does it mean to you to be autistic / neurodivergent? Hold on one second. Tiffany is mute. There we go.
To be neurodivergent, in general, means that my brain likely filters my life experience in a way that the larger population doesn't understand. To be autistic is a specific type of brain filter.
Okay. So, Tiffany, you're utilizing what is considered an AAC device to communicate. Can you explain what it does?
AAC, which stands for Augmentative and Assistive Communication, is really communication that's not speech. Although I can sometimes speak, I would like to have communication for when I cannot. Actually, I now prefer AAC to speech because I can last longer in the day without getting overloaded. Speech is exhausting. It's not easy to most autistic people, and to 40% of autistic people, not feasible to use for communication at all. AAC gives me and others of various disabilities, including autism, the ability to use many ways to communicate, from pictures to a high-tech speech-generating software on a tablet that converts pictures and/or /text into spoken words.
So what challenges do you face when utilizing your device for your own business or in social situations?
Because my business is helping families and professionals use AAC better, I rarely have challenges with using AAC in business. Over the course of the pandemic, I have pretty much ironed out the crinkles of using AAC online, in Zooms, on lives, etc. In social situations, I also generally don't have many issues because my friends and family are used to my various forms of communication. At the same time, I have a much easier time communicating with them anyway. In regular public situations, it's a challenge to use AAC in public. It takes time to type, and most people don't want to wait, or they will try to guess what you are saying and constantly interrupt. Or they assume I can't hear them and start speaking to others instead of me, including my kids, even though I am clearly an adult and can type to communicate. I wish people would wait and let me finish typing my message without interrupting.
So, as a business owner, would it be beneficial to have AAC devices available in working environments for autistics?
Yes, I really think these should be readily available in all public locations or businesses. Not just high-tech systems, but also boards with the entire alphabet, symbols, and certain common phrases available everywhere. That would help communicators who can't read yet and who can't speak English. Having the alphabet helps communicate literally anything. But having a tablet at a stand isn't a huge expense and should be a priority for accessible spaces. So both high-tech and low-tech options can be used in a very inexpensive way. In fact, a friend of mine from Autism Career Pathways is now certifying businesses as sensory, autism, and neurodivergent friendly spaces. Having multiple and accessible ways to communicate is a part of that certification.
I love that. So, thank you so much, Tiffany. I know for a lot of people that was amazing to hear, because sometimes we don't take the time to just listen or wait. But now I would like to ask you both, starting with Kelly, please give us the name of your business. What exactly does it stand for? What do you do, and the clientele you serve?
Right. So my main business is completely inclusive. That is a social enterprise consultancy focused on inclusion and accessibility in the workplace. I'm also a certified psychological health and safety in the workplace advisor. I'm in Canada, so we have a Canadian standard for psychological health and safety in the workplace. So I bring in those aspects as well as I use a restorative justice framework. So I'm really including everybody. When I say completely inclusive, I really mean it. So people say, well, what about this? Everybody, everyone. So that's religious, whatever religious beliefs you have, the LGBTQ community as well. Everybody really, I feel, can be included in the workplace. So that's what I'm advocating for. I want to piggyback a bit off of what Tiffany had said, because when we have accessible devices for people to be able to communicate in the workplace, it could be in a workplace or a store, it doesn't matter. This isn't just helping the neurodivergent people. People whose first language isn't English, being able to point to the picture to say, this is the food I want to eat at this restaurant. This helps everyone. And so I always talk about the fact that we're not, yes, my business does do things for what we say are normally marginalized or underrepresented people. However, everyone usually benefits from any sort of accessible or inclusive feature that we add into a business or any place, really. And so it's about creating these spaces that are comfortable for everyone to exist in. And bringing equity to everyone to be able to enjoy the same space, no matter who you are or what walk of life you're from. That's really what it's about. That's really about what the work I do is.
And you said your second business that you have.
So I have this side project that I'm working on. I'm in the capacity building kind of stage with that one. It's the Autistic Entrepreneurs Network. Um, I might expand it to be the Neurodivergent Entrepreneurs Network. I really feel like, again, I have to include more people in this. But I want to create a directory of us as business owners so that we can skill share amongst each other, that we can build capacity in our community, that we can just encourage people to start businesses. Because what we see a lot right now is parents are starting businesses for their autistic children in order to leave a legacy, in order to leave some sort of security for them. But I say, hey, we can take control and maybe we can do it ourselves if we're supporting each other. So that's my hope. We'll see. It's all these things take time to grow. I'm planting the seeds and hoping to get more people involved.
All right. Tiffany, what exactly is your business? What do you do? The clientele you serve?
The name of my business is Nigh Functioning Autism. It's a play on words making fun of using functioning labels, which are seen as inaccurate, inappropriate, and insulting for the most part.
So, what I do generally are I consult for, I've consulted for parents, for businesses, for ABA therapists, for speech language pathologists. Any questions they may have about neurodiversity affirming practices. I have some parents will get like an IEP or some recommendation from like a doctor or something, and they just want me to look over it. And the thing I do the most is help parents who's or teachers who have students and children who need to learn how to implement AAC and other communication challenges. Being a parent, a practitioner, and an autistic person, I have my foot in very many doors. So the communication piece is what I teach the most.
So, Kelly, I'm going to jump to you for a quick question. You had a book, How to Parent as an Autistic. And I want to know what made you write the book, and also what led you to becoming a business consultant?
So I started with the idea of the book of how to parent like an autistic, with the assumption or hope, or I don't know, I don't want to see, I wish there was some research behind it. I had this idea that autistic children that are parented by autistic people end up happier and more accepted, having a better sense of self and identity, than if they were parented by a neurotypical person. And I say that not to insult how neurotypical people parent, but just there's a certain understanding of our brains that we already have, which makes it easier for us then to. There's a hurdle that's already been passed, and so I felt like if I could collect this data and see how other autistic people parent, if it's similar, and then share our strengths that we can, that I can give to others, in the hopes that there are going to be more happy, confident, fully accepted autistic children. So I surveyed as many autistic parents as I could. I ended up with about 30 or so. And I left it as an open-ended kind of survey. Like I just said, what are your strengths? What are your challenges? And so the results of that survey are basically what became the content of the book. And I give concrete examples just based on my own experiences and other people, people that shared with me the kind of strengths that we have, the kind of challenges we have. And from there, it has now grown to, I'm now working with a clinic. I'm associated with a psychology clinic here in Montreal. And I've become their family support worker. So very similar to Tiffany, I also help parents here to deal with a diagnosis when they get it. So it's not such a scary thing, because often when we get a diagnosis, we don't know what's going to happen. It's quite scary. And kind of walk them through that. I'm there to help them on their journey, wherever they're at, with their parenting, to try and be more neurodiversity affirming, give them confidence, understand that they have the skills that they need to parent their child, and move forward that way.
Tiffany, so my question to you is, what led you to become a parent advocate and coach, not just for parents, but for speech pathologists and teachers, and helping in that realm?
I gotta be honest, I had no interest in it at first. But I kept having parents or therapists direct message me on Instagram or Facebook and ask me if could sit down with them over Zoom for an hour and they would give me money. After several sessions, I thought to myself, oh wait, I can do this. I can use this as a form of income. I had no form of income before this due to seizures.
I like your transparency and vulnerability. Like, look, I wasn't interested at first, but I'm glad that you are, because you have also been one of the people who I've reached out to several times for my own son. And I just want to say you've been a blessing. So thank you. You have no idea. So moving on, I have to ask you both, because clearly you can go work for other people. What made you actually look into or become entrepreneurs? Like, why entrepreneurship? Kelly, I'm going to have you go first.
So, you know, it's nice of you to say clearly we could work for other people. I mean, I have worked for other people. I didn't get diagnosed until I was in my 30s, actually. So before that, I had a stint of different jobs that, you know, here and there, you know, wasn't necessarily all that great. It depended. I actually, right out of university, because I was struggling so much, I didn't think I could work for someone else. So I started my first company then that I ran for 4 years. That was teaching English as a second language privately. And so I did that because I didn't think I could work in a company. I just didn't think it was possible. And then I started working part-time. My father was sick, so I needed some sort of stable income to take care of him. And then I kind of transitioned back into the corporate world, and I did that for quite some time. And then I just became kind of jaded with things. I was tired of making profits for other people, and knowing that working in a corporate world, that I'll never get the kind of recognition or being able to do the kind of work that I want to do. That was really my passion. What wakes me up, gets me up in the morning. And it was actually my son that gave me the idea to start my current consultancy. He just said, I told him I was trying to help support him to make sure that, by the time he's 18, he'll be able to get a job. And I wanted the path to be easier for him. And at the time he was 8, and he said, well, Mom, you've got 10 years. What's the problem? So it's so easy. So I took that confidence that he had in me, and I took that gumption of a child, and I said, well, you're right. I can do a lot in 10 years. I might as well start now and then see what happens. And so I did. I did keep my corporate job for about a year as I transitioned into full time on my business. But yeah, I'm floating on the hopes and dreams of of my son in that sense, but I'm living my passion. I feel like I am now doing something in the world that is going to be useful, that is going to make the path easier, not just for my own children, but for everyone else around me. And I'm hoping that this will create waves, that it will change all of society. We need safer. We need a safer society for our children. We need we need to be safe from police intimidation, um, not just because of being Black or people of color, but also just presenting differently. You know, my child walking down the street, flapping and skipping is not a threat, but can be perceived that way at times. So I'm trying to create a world where I feel that if I start with the businesses first, every employee of that business will take something with them when they feel included and safe, and they start to have this attitude of, hey, we can do this for other people, and that will hopefully spread out into all of society to become more inclusive. That's again, it's my dream, but only time will tell how far we can get with this.
Tiffany.
Most of my disabilities make my life super unreliable. For instance, I have no clue when I will have a seizure. Having just one can derail my next few upcoming days. I haven't been able to work since 2013, and the last job I had, I left under immense social pressure in a corporate environment. I was traumatized from the bullying experience there. From there, I tried to make money from whatever freelance way I could find, like being a Google evaluator, a mystery shopper, and rideshare driver. I was grateful to have housing and necessities in disability housing, so I could work just enough to work around my OCD, epilepsy, autism, and ADHD. Having that experience of trying to support my family at flexible hours showed me that's basically the only way I can earn income with my situation.
I totally get it. It makes a lot of sense. So now I have to ask, what are some of the rewards and challenges of being an entrepreneur? I'm gonna let Kelly go first so Tiffany can come up and use her device so she can give us her answer.
So some of the challenges. I'm alone in my business. I would love to have a partner, but just hasn't materialized yet. So when you have to do everything yourself, or you have to find the people that can help you get what you need done, that can be a challenge. For me, I like to have different tasks and do different things with my week, with my time. I like being able to manage my own time. But at the same time, I can't stand paperwork. I don't like filling out forms. I don't particularly care for doing accounting, even though the money is important. I find these tasks kind of very tedious, and I find it very hard to find somebody that I can trust that can do those kind of paperwork organization things for me. So that's what I find is the most challenging out of everything that I have to do as an entrepreneur.
And what about the rewards?
Oh yeah. Well, I guess the rewards is being able to manage my own schedule, being able to work around around my own brain. I actually wrote a post just on LinkedIn yesterday about not being able to brain, having these days where we have this very inconsistent productivity. And not that people have to be productive all the time, but the fact that sometimes you sit down at your desk to work and it's just not going to happen today. That doesn't work when you have a boss that's waiting for results. I'm able to manage my tasks and my time and my energy, as well as care for my children, and I can do this at home and I can work when it's best for me. I sleep in quite late, so I'm usually not up before 9 or 10 a.m., which in the business world does not fly. And then I'm there with my kids, and I'm making sure that my kids are good. And then, we make dinner, and I usually have the evening free. So like now is my time. So if I'm not on alive, then I'm working. And so, but again, that doesn't really work with regular work hours in the real world. But I'm able to still function and have an income based on times that work for me, and working in a way and a style that is really good for me, and I'm able to be more consistently productive and happy and motivated that way.
Thanks, Kelly. Now over to you, Tiff. What are some challenges and rewards of being an entrepreneur? Tiff, you're muted.
A lot of the challenges come from families and autistic people in my own community who refuse to respect me as parent, even though my children are older and I have parenting experience right alongside my experience of actually being autistic. From other parents and other autistic people alike, it seems that nobody cares about my experiences outside of my own views on being autistic. For rewards, I can decide when I need to take days off to recover from a seizure or days-long side effects of one. Sometimes, I have OCD flares and get stuck in loops that makes working impossible for days or weeks at a time. But having my own business means I can schedule around times I know I need to rest. I can work the middle 4 hours of the day where I have the most energy. I am also able to help where I feel most needed right now. I feel this I now not only is helping me, but others as well. I feel fulfilled in general, and I can help families not feel alone as they usually do.
Thank you both for that. Sorry. So the next question I have for you is, do you feel it's essential for neurodivergents and autistics to reveal their diagnosis as an entrepreneur or in a business setting?
So I get this question a lot. I get this question actually a lot from young people entering the workforce. So if we just go with stats, okay, we know that 67% of people with a disability do not disclose in the workplace. And so that's all disabilities, all included. And there's reasons for that, right? There's stigma. There's stigma associated with all, whatever you have. So, and that's, if people can hide their disability, then it becomes an invisible disability, so to speak, even though it's not really. But when people can hide it, 67% of people do. That's just a fact. I feel that whether you disclose or not is a very personal decision. There's a lot of there has to be a lot of thought that goes into that. I can't speak for the US. I can only speak for Canada and the laws that we have here, where by law, technically, a workplace is not allowed to discriminate against you based on your disclosure of a disability, and you do not have to disclose the exact disability in order to receive accommodations. Does that mean that doesn't happen? Of course not, right? But trying to take people to court was very onerous, very lengthy. You have to go through the whole human rights tribunal. It's anyway. It's not something that's accessible. That being said, since I've gotten my diagnosis, I've been on national nonprofit boards. My face is everywhere. I've been on TV here in Canada. People know me as an advocate, as an autistic person. So I don't hide. I've never hidden that. It is everywhere. If you Google my name, you're going to find it at some point. So it's not something I hide when I go into businesses. But also, I've had almost 3 decades of work behind me. In my career, I have a certain amount of privilege at this point, being an older person. And so what a 16-year-old needs to do in order to get a job is not going to be the same as what I need to do to get a job. I'm able to say, take it or leave it. If you don't like me, if you're not interested in me being autistic, then I'll go find someone else. Not a problem. I don't particularly want to work with businesses that don't want to work with me, right? That's not a relationship I want to have. So it's really, really personal. I would never tell somebody, oh, you have to disclose, or no, you should not disclose. It's really up to each situation, each business. Every time you go for an interview, you've got to analyze the business and see what's the cost benefit analysis, right? If you can tell their attitude is such that they're kind of going to dismiss you, then either it's not the right place to be, or you're going to have to mask the whole time you're at work. But again, do you need the paycheck? You need to eat. These are things that are real issues that we need to look at, and you need to make a decision, an educated decision based on what you need right now. If you need a roof over your head right now, you need to eat right now. Sometimes you have to do things that are going to hurt you inside psychologically to get over the physical needs that you need to have met. I don't advocate for that. Of course, I'd love to see more support systems in place where we don't have to do that. We don't have to kill our spirit to go on. But the reality is we have to accept the fact that we're not there yet.
You're right about that, Tiffany.
I will preface this by saying that since my entrepreneurship is built around my disabilities, it is essential. Outside of anything like that, I am not sure I would disclose. The stigma is still too real and messed up to disclose in a normal job environment or one where I would have clients not related to autism. Outside of the general autism community, I usually only face stigma, stereotypes, and discrimination.
Yes, I've heard that a lot. And it is the reason why I wanted you ladies here tonight, so we can really talk about how do we get to the place where we have less of the stigma and more of the appreciation that we're all human and everyone is different, right? We all have something about us that makes us different, whether it's a tick, whether it's a stutter. Difference is okay, right? But yet we still don't feel that. Like, even with this month, I see so much of it. But I love what you represent, and I just love the fact of what you're doing. So now I ask, for employers, both entrepreneurs hiring and corporate America, what is some of the advice you would like to give them when it comes to hiring neurodivergents, other than making sure they have accessible communication like an AAC device?
So I really advise, and this is what I do in my consultative work, that they have a long-term strategy. It has to be, we can't tokenize us, okay? You can't just take us and plop us in and be like, well, we've got one of those now, so we're good. It doesn't work like that. You're putting us into a toxic environment. So it's really important that when we're making these, I've seen a lot of these neurodivergent hiring initiatives, which are fantastic, but they can't just come from, we're going to train the neurodivergent person how to act and how to be. And then we're going to train maybe the manager on how to supervise them and then leave them to the wolves. It doesn't work like that. It really takes a whole business approach. You have to go for inclusion for the right reasons and for the whole business to be able to be on board. Otherwise, you're opening it up for, just like I said, a toxic workplace and a healthy, psychologically unsafe workplace. And people not sticking around because the cost is too high for them to be the token. And even when I'm talking about tokenism, you still can't hire just 5 of us and put us in a room off to the side and exclude us, but then say, well, we've had this initiative. Look, here are the neurodivergent people over there, and look, they're working so well. We love them. But then we're still not included. We need to be embraced. We need to be accepted. We need, again, that whole idea, like you said, that difference needs to be embraced and valued. And that comes with even just being able to, for people to say the words, to say autistic, to say disability, to say, you know, I'm very light skinned, but I'm Black too, right? To say those words and be okay with saying those words, and speaking to people and not saying like, oh, I don't see color, or you don't look autistic to me. That's erasing my identity. So we need workplaces that have to, when I talk about accommodation, this is it. This is accommodating and including people for all that they are, and not trying to erase these aspects or to just talk about people in one certain aspect and put them over here in a box and leave them there. You have to really, it has to be holistic. It has to be, everybody has to be on board.
I totally agree. Tiffany.
Before inviting neurodivergent people to your space, please make sure that space is friendly for us. I don't mean just the practical easy stuff, like lower lighting, no loud smells or vents or things like that. Those are great. But I mean, make it emotionally a friendly place. I talked about being bullied at workplaces. I rarely got bullied as a child, but as an adult, it has been a constant companion. Especially in the workplace. Make sure their fellow employees understand what autism is without the stereotypes before hiring. Otherwise, your autistic employees will face bullying. Make sure you have everything in the company documented with visuals. That's just good practices as a business anyway, to be fair. Consider going through the ND-friendly business certification process. Don't require speech at interviews. Provide a way to write or text in real time as part of the process. Send the interview questions ahead of time so processing on the spot doesn't have to happen. Consider hiring someone that can act as a liaison or a social guide or a point one within the team. Someone that can introduce everyone and explain things and be a trusted person during the interview period to first few months of the job or beyond. Please hire non-speaking autistic people who use various ways to communicate. They have amazing things to contribute, but need more help with body control. Accommodate that. Don't think it's too hard before you even start. And lastly, don't pay us less. Being disabled is expensive. Transportation costs more. We have more equipment and medical expenses, more therapies, and less time to put hours in. But that doesn't mean we are worth less, nor should we have to exhaust ourselves or put our lives at risk to work. Find ways to accommodate disability and maximize ability. It's easy to get in the mindset of production equals worth. There are hidden benefits which actually equals earnings that will improve when a company accommodates more diversity and inclusion of all humans.
Well said, Tiffany. Well said. I took some pointers there myself for Transruptic for the future. So I now want to move into the young adults. I see a lot of young autistic neurodivergent individuals, and they are telling us what they will accept, what they will not accept, and how they want to be respected. So what advice, tools, and techniques would you give to young autistic teens and adults that are looking to become entrepreneurs?
Dream big, go for it. I love to see it. I love to see the younger generation coming up better than we got it. That's fantastic. I'm not jealous at all. I'm very much like, if we can again make the path easier, I'm so excited to see it. And I've seen also people in their 20s now going into the workplace telling me that they've never experienced bullying like I did. And that they're perfectly happy with who they are, and like you said, they're telling it. They're telling workplaces, you have to take us. If they want to start a business, then you have to have your support group around you. So that could be family, but it can be friends, it can be mentors. I really advocate a lot for mentors. I love mentorship. I always feel that you should have a mentor who's at least 10 years older than you and another one 10 years younger than you. You've got to stay in tune with what's going on. And so find your support people. Find people who are cheering you on, not the ones who are telling you no. And follow your passion. So whatever it is that gets you up in the morning. I know there's a great autistic entrepreneur who's fantastic at putting together IKEA sets. So that's what he does. He goes out to people's homes to put together their IKEA furniture for them. He does it faster and easier than most people. He does it by himself, so you don't need to even help him. He knows it, and he's probably been doing so many of them that it's 2 seconds for him, right? So don't stress yourself. Hire him, but that's his passion. That's what he's good at, and he knows it. And like Tiff was saying, pay us, and especially for now. This is Autism Awareness Month. This is one of my busiest months. But I've seen people who are not autistic who are getting the speaking gigs, and that's not to say that I need to have every single speaking gig. There are so many of us autistic advocates who are out there speaking that you can't make an excuse and say you couldn't find one. Take it from us, learn from us directly. We are it's a spectrum, and we come in all types of people. So if you're looking for a trans autistic person, I can guarantee you there's one, and I've interviewed some. I have my own podcast. That's what we do. It doesn't matter what intersection you're looking for. We're out there, we're ready. And so I love to see the youth that are much more accepting, I find, than I was even 20 years ago, coming out there and like I said, planting the new seeds, growing their own businesses. They can go for it. The sky's the limit.
Make sure to understand and document your systems and processes to make your life easier and make it easy to delegate or hire help. Make everything as easy, as automated, and as efficient as possible. For things you have a hard time doing, see how you can offload those things to save energy. Realize that things will go wrong at different stages because growth causes you to notice some bad processes, and you will have to use new ones. Decide now that you will make mistakes and have problems. That's a part of growth. A big part. The right mindset is important. Knowing to keep going is one thing to set in your mind up front. Use social media to help your business scale up. Use your community and ask them for help.
Tiffany, that all great points, because those are some things that we are doing ourselves as entrepreneurs and businesses, is taking advantage of social media, whether it be Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, even right now with this broadcast. So thank you both for giving your insight. And, like you said, Kelly, yes, this is Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month. And yes, there are a lot of parent advocates, and why I wanted to share this stage, because I think it's so important to hear from you all directly and giving you the space to have the conversations. So it is one thing I want to ask. Is there one thing or anything you would like to inform or want the audience to take away from tonight's conversation?
For me, I don't know if there's just one thing, but I think what's important for people to remember is that different is not wrong. It's just different. That's it. And don't read anything else into it. A lot of the time, people see somebody who's acting differently, and they automatically have a lot of different assumptions, or they feel that their life is in danger, when it could just be a guy rocking and humming to himself on the bus. That's not putting your life in danger. That's just somebody rocking and humming on the bus. And I wish that more people would just open their mind to that. Automatically, people make assumptions then that that person is not intelligent or is not aware. And that's the furthest from the truth. But we don't even have to go that far into making assumptions about what the person is capable of doing, or what kind of intelligence they have. Just accepting the fact that some people are going to be different, they will look different, they will move differently in the world, but it's not wrong, it's not bad, it's not dangerous. It is just different. Don't make it more complicated than that.
One of the biggest issues with disabled adults, especially autistic adults, is housing and income. Pay us for our work. If it is relating to an expertise, consider hiring us again or passing our information on to others. Recommend us. Autistic people, more than any other disability, are least likely to be employed, and when they are, mostly underemployed for skills and education. Having social and communication differences causes more issues with getting and maintaining employment. So hire us. Hire our businesses. Help us reach out to others to promote ourselves. And don't forget to hire non-speaking autistic people too. If you need expertise about a disability, hire a disabled person with that disability. Whether it's for questions, art, film, etc. The opportunities need to be there because there are plenty of talented autistic people who just need accommodations for movement, sensory, and communication differences. Our completely different perspective on life is so crucial to the world, and yet, neurotypicals miss a huge chunk of life by not opening their eyes.
Thank you.
I'm not finished.
Oh, sorry, Tiffany.
That sorry.
It's important that people understand that people who can't speak indeed can understand and hear them. They do have dreams, goals, and hopes for their lives beyond someone deciding their day's activities for them. They can communicate with years of hard work, but it's not if, it's just about when. We need to make that when as soon as possible for everyone. And if that as soon as possible isn't now, then it's too late.
So true, Tiffany. I that leads me to say this. Like, I consider myself my son's advocate. But when it comes to the autistic and neurodivergent community, I consider myself an ally because I don't speak for you. I speak for my son. I speak alongside with you. And my son, who's on the spectrum, I think it's important to hear and listen from not only your voices as the adults, but the young teens that are now speaking out about how they want to be accepted, treated, and respected. So it leads me to ask, what advice and tools would you like to provide the audience to become better advocates? Not just for you all, but if they have children on the spectrum. And more importantly, spread not just awareness, but more of the acceptance. Like, yes, we need to be aware of a person's needs, but not aware like, who are they? and to take it more of an acceptance for the neurodivergent community. So what are the tools and advice you would like those who are not a part of the community to assist the community to get further than where we are?
I think you've got it, Tia, and you're doing it exactly. You're living it. Amplifying our voices, providing spaces for us to be heard. People can join Facebook groups or Twitter and listen, start following autistic advocates because we are out there. We are out there and speaking and saying what we need. So we're online. We do primarily, I'd say a lot of us socialize very well online because a lot of the barriers are gone that way. It's a great equalizer to some extent. So start to join these groups and communities. There are lots of groups, especially if you're interested in parenting issues. There are groups that are led by autistic people who are there to answer questions that parents have. And join and listen and learn first. So a lot of the issues, and you see this in a lot of different groups, a lot of different intersections where people come in and they, I don't want to say step on toes, but they hear things that are very confronting to them and they want to challenge that rather than just sitting back and listening and kind of taking in things. There are many times where autistic advocates are going to say things that make it seem like the parent was doing something wrong. And it might not have been the perfect thing, and we might not have been the most gracious in the way we deliver that information, but it's for the parent to sit back and go, okay, maybe this wasn't the right approach. Maybe these people have something to offer, and I can't get my ego wrapped up into it. Mm-hmm. I think the most important thing that a parent can take away is to say, when I know better, I do better, right?
Yeah.
When don't beat yourself up for mistakes that you made in the past because you didn't know. When you do know, and when people are saying, hey, this is what works for us, or this might try this, it might be better, and try it, be open to that idea. Instead of challenging it, instead of arguing with us, instead of saying, well, this professional told me I should do it this way. If you're coming for help and you're coming for advice, you've got to then listen to us. And we're very direct. We're very honest. We're not people who are going to make up things just to mess around. We don't do that. That's not in our nature. And so, yes, we will tell you how it is. But at the same time, you can't get your ego wrapped up into it. We all want the best for your child. And when your child comes of age and they're able to go on the internet themselves, we are waiting for them to embrace them fully into the community. And so that's to me, if you want to get in early, let them know that these communities exist, that people like them, who understand them, are there. Representation matters. So here we are, and we're ready to welcome you.
I will say, I knew I was autistic before my kids. And for people who don't know, there's a lot of division between parents and autistic adults. And I kind of didn't understand the parent side before I had my kids. And then I started searching for what parents see. And it's like there are two completely different worlds from what autistic people will find if they search, and what parents and the public will find if they search. So it's like two different, vastly different worlds. So as a parent of autistic children and as an autistic person, I would say that there are more things that we agree on and whether you're an employer or you're looking to hire or to find information about autistic people, don't just look up what a parent would see or somebody from the public who doesn't know about autism. Also, try and find where we hang out and see what we are dealing with, um, without saying anything, of course, because um, you really have, like Kelly said, a lot of people come, they're new to the community, and they step on toes. So I would say for years, just listen. For years, just listen, unless you are amplifying our voices. Yeah.
I received that. I respect that so much because I think I can only speak for myself in this situation. I've learned more by listening. Um, Tiffany, you know, from personal conversations between you and I in chats or just in our Facebook group where, you know, for Black autistic families, where we hear some things and we get to really have those conversations. I thanked you and the others in that group that provide different ideas and different feedback to everyday situations that we go through. One thing I like to say is, you guys, we face challenges, but they are not the end all be all. And I'm so grateful for you both being here tonight. So I do have one thing before we wrap it up. I would like for you both to tell us if you have anything else coming in the works that people should be aware of and look out for, and where they can connect with you all if they wanted to outside of this space, because I'm pretty sure they may have their own personal questions that they would like to ask that may not, this platform may not be the best place for it. So Kelly, anything in the works coming up, and where can they find you?
Oh my goodness. That's a good question. I don't have any public appearances coming up right away. A lot of the stuff I'm doing is directly with corporations. I am working on my second book. It will be called How to Work Like an Autistic. So I intend to make a series. So I have the How to Parent Like an Autistic, and then it will be How to Work Like an Autistic, and then who knows where that's going to go. But that's,
I got another one for you: How to Date Like an Autistic.
I was thinking of relationships and things like that. Well, yeah, we'll see. So, but one thing at a time. It's a lot. A lot goes into that. So, that's kind of where I'm working. I'm also hopefully going to finish my degree in restorative justice by next year. And so I'm bringing in, like I said, I'm trying to do more kind of restorative style circles and groups with parents and with families, because I believe in that that process. I find it's very healing and very beneficial for groups. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. I do hope to get some of my courses online so that they are more accessible for more people. But otherwise, yeah, like I said, I do not hide on the internet. You will find, if you Google my name, you will find me on LinkedIn. You will find me on Instagram. You will find me on Facebook. The only place I don't really get is Twitter. So I have a Twitter account, but there's nothing really on it. But otherwise, yeah, it's very easy to find me. I also have a podcast I co-host called Intersections on the Spectrum. And Tiffany was actually a guest on it. So that's where I interview a lot of fascinating, interesting autistic people and their stories. So that's another way to hear it directly from us.
Thanks. Tiffany, anything in the works? What's coming out?
Currently, I am in training to become a communication partner and teacher for non-speaking autistic people of all ages. I currently have a few students. I want to take this aspect of using the letterboard to communicate into high-tech virtual reality assistive technology. This would fill in the gap of autistic motor problems and the usual AAC devices we see with speech generating technology as what I use.
And you can find me at nai.functioning.autism on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Twitter is at 2_funny. And I have a website that actually I this is part of the entrepreneurship stuff, because my website it had to reload something, so this week it hasn't been working, but so that's one of the scale problems I was talking about. But so my website is www.nifunctioningautism.com, and what I'm really using right now is LNK, like L in like Nancy K .bio slash autism, and that's where you'll find most of my stuff online. Yeah.
Gotcha. So I want to thank both of you ladies so much. Tonight has been very informational, not only for the audience, but for myself when I think about Transruptic and the state of it and what we're going to be doing when it comes to leadership courses. And I do see a partnership in how we need to be more inclusive as well in filling that gap. So I want to thank you both for your time, for giving us, this valuable information, and more importantly, for what it is that you're doing for your community and for the children that are coming up under you all. This has been amazing as always. I just want to say thank you. And I got to give back my hosting reins to the owner of the show. So I want to bring back in Stephen Jackson, and I want to thank him for allowing me to have this space and have this conversation, because it is near and dear to me. I love my autistic son, and I wouldn't change him for the world. So thank you for allowing me to have this space and to broaden it with more people like him. So back to you.
Well, first of all, I got to thank you because this has been eye-opening, enlightening, and mind-blowing. Tiffany and Kelly, thank you for what you provided to our audience tonight. Thank you for what you even provide to Transruptive. I created this company to disrupt and transform the way entrepreneurs are created. And this whole idea and mission of creating entrepreneurs that are going to be holistic and that will grow and scale and hire within their communities. And through Tia's work, I've now realized that I wasn't as inclusive as I thought I was. This show has really made that very clear and put that on blast to me. So I think what Tia has done, I think my children, I'm thankful that my children will work with me in this company, because they can show from their perspective how they see things and get me to see things differently. Tiffany, you're a kindred spirit. I mean, everything you said about entrepreneurship is right on point. As a matter of fact, I believe you could teach our entrepreneur workshops. The things that you talked about, having the processes in place. This is what we do talk about, having the process. Both of you have the way you came about becoming entrepreneurs is just like how so many people become entrepreneurs. Just like there's a problem, I could solve this problem, and guess what? Someone's gonna give me some money to solve this problem, and I think I'm gonna take the money and go ahead and keep making more money. So I plan to have more conversations through Tia and with you all to make certain that as we frame out Transrupted 2.0, that's what we're going to call it now, is that we are being fully inclusive of all communities, and make sure that people like yourselves have the tools, the process, and the opportunities to be successful as well. So Tiffany, I built my first website in 1995. I'm very skilled at that. So if you want someone to take a look and help you and get your website back up and running correctly, uh, send me an email, call on me. You got that. I would, that's without saying. That's just a small thank you for what you've given our audience, what you've given me, what you've given Transruptic, and I see why my daughter has been so successful in this space and work with Gray. And to me, Gray is a normal young boy to me. I mean, he just reminds me a lot of myself, and I have my things, and I love my private space. And I look at him, and I just have so much fun just having him around. And that's come from her, doing everything she can do is not make him feel like he is something that we need to stigmatize. So I'm very thankful to understand what being really inclusive really means. I now have a greater respect for that. And I know that I fell short in the past of understanding what true inclusion means. You ladies have helped me understand that, and you have my word that going forward, we want to make certain that Transrupted definitely speaks for everyone. Our focus is to make certain that anyone wants to be a successful entrepreneur, regardless of what they got going for them. We're gonna make that happen. Thank you.
So before you wrap it up, Mr. Jackson, Tiffany, I'm going to send you that information to make sure, because since he offered, we want to make sure we get it done sooner than later. So I'll be sending that to you. And I know you guys have a show coming up next month, so you want to inform the audience on that.
Oh, you talking about me? My show next month? Oh. We have next month, we're going to get down to the art of cryptocurrency. We have gotten Clive Vanell. As you know, he's spending all night in session trying to get a budget passed, so we know he's going to have more free time. So we're going to bring in Clive Vanell, who we talked about bringing him in the last time he couldn't make it, and we're going to be doing that show. It's going to be on cryptocurrency. On June, we're going to be talking about, once again, the state of entrepreneurship. We're going to have we're going to have a couple other entrepreneurs. We're going to be talking about their experiences and what it took for them to actually become entrepreneurship. And we're going to be talking about the official launch of the first Transruptic cohort. We are preparing for that. And our first, we got a pre-schedule coming up the week of May 21st, in which we're going to invite some of our select guests and friends to actually experience what Transruptic is going to be about. And man, I got some catching up to do because of the show. Now I got to catch up and learn about assisted learning devices. And see how we can use that. Also, Tiffany, I want to say one more thing. I just started getting into augmented reality using AR as a learning processing tool. I mean, so I say you're like a kindred spirit to me, but I'm now starting to explore that as well. To say this may be to create those type of virtual worlds where we can really teach entrepreneurship, and not so much on how people, the written word or watching videos and stuff like that. You actually had to go through the processes. So I'm getting excited about doing that as well. And I think that's going to be our August show. Our July show, we're going to have Dr. Stacey Grant. She's going to be talking about faithpreneurship, faith-based companies, faith building businesses based upon your religious faith. Okay. So I thank you all for being with us this evening. This was an amazing show. If you enjoyed it, spread the word. Let us, let other people know. We will have the replay up very soon. And to everyone, once again, thank you all. And please have a great evening. Have a healthy and safe week. And whatever you do, have some fun doing it. Okay? If it's not fun, it's not worth doing it. Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.